my fellow comic book collectors, it's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is my top 50 list for my biggest books in my collection based on value. And these are the books that are getting more expensive. This is part 4 of this series, and it's my in the top 20 list. And these books range from anywhere from around $4,600 all the way up to almost $10,000. So these are pretty big books, and it gets only bigger after this. So next, the finale will be huge books. So these are the books that you know, most people would consider Grail books, and I think that I can use that term for these books because they're pretty great books. So let's get into them. First one is one that actually I didn't think I was going to win when I won it. And there's a few books that were from the same auction. I won them all at the same time. There's 3 books on this list that I won at the same auction, which I didn't expect to win any of them. So when I won all of them, I was like, oh, how am I going to pay for this now? Because it was a massive win, because they're all massive books. So the first one was this one, Batman number 49. And what happened was it was a Heritage Auctions, and they had like a massive sale, like a huge sale of like really all the biggest books you can ever imagine and in the highest grades. Then the next, and they were promoting it for like for a long time. And then afterwards there was like a smaller auction, but it also had some great books, and this was one of them. But people didn't really bid as much, so these books went much more like way under fair market value. So it was pretty cool. And I ended up winning. Like I put in a bid and thinking, oh, I'll get outbid. But if I win it for that, it'd be awesome. But then I won and I won and I won. I kept on winning for really great prices. So this is the first one that I won. I think I paid like 3,000, something like that, or maybe 2,500. It was pretty low. This book actually afterwards went up to $6,500. It was like $1,000 a point at its peak, back in 2022. It has since cooled down a bit. It's now hovering around $4,680. But you probably wonder, why is this such an expensive book? Well, it is a great Joker cover. This is Batman number 49 from 1948. It is a Bob Kane cover, Bill Finger story, and it features the first appearance of the Mad Hatter, the original Mad Hatter, and the first appearance of Vicky Vale, who becomes Batman's love interest. So very major book for the Batman title. Vicky Vale was actually in one of the Batman movies, the one with Jack Nicholson. I think she was played by what's her name? Basinger, Kim Basinger. So yeah, so just really great book, Batman 49. And next one, another big book. This one also had a pretty huge rise and then huge fall. And it's kind of sad because it's actually quite a rare book. This one is Albedo number 2. And this is the first appearance of Yasugio Jimbo. And really cool character, really cool story, actually. This is by Stan Sakai cover and art, and he also did the story as well. He and Stephen Galassi did the story. And it's the first appearance of him. It also has a letter from Pierre Laird and Don Thompson. So this is from 1984. And it's kind of one of the major anthropomorphic characters of the Copper Age. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and probably Cerebus would be the 3 biggest. But this one is an incredibly rare book, a very low print run for it. I think less than like 2,000, and there's like less than 1,000 of these on the census. Just a really incredibly rare book, and quite expensive. There was actually an animated series where they used Space Usagi, and it didn't do well. So this book had gone up to like $7,500 in this grade, like about $1,000 a point, and now it's around $4,700. So it's kind of tumbled a bit, but I paid $3,800, so I'm still winning, but barely. So just a great book, hard to find, and it's really hard to get in high grade because if you notice, it is all black, and you can see any spine ticks will show really, really clearly. So it is a book hard to get in high grade. I'll show you the back as well. Really great story though. I really like Usagi. And next one is one that I actually never thought I would get, and actually had worked out a deal with the guy because I thought, okay, I'll make installments. I'll do something to get this book, and we are sort of trying to negotiate on the price. He wanted like something like 13,000 or something crazy, and it was a pretty low grade book, a copy of it, but it was blue label. However, a purple label came up on Comic Connect, and I was like, why not? I'll bid on it. And I put a bid of I think I went up to like $5,000. That was my most that I could say that I would go for it. But there had been a sale for I think it was like a 2.0, and it went for 7, or was it more than that? I think it was like 7,000 or 8,000. It was like crazy how much it would gone for. So I was worried that, oh, this is a higher grade. There's no way I'm going to get it for that $5,000 price. But I did manage to win it. So this is Police Comics #1. And, it's a 7.0, restored. As I said, it is restored. And the restoration includes a color touch, pieces added, reinforced, from the collection of John Burke, and it's a moderate B2 restoration, so semi-professional restoration, but it presents really beautifully. I can show you. Now you're probably wondering, what is so significant about Police Comics #1? Well, it is the first appearance of Plastic Man, first appearance of Phantom Lady as well, and it is the first appearance of the Mouthpiece, and Firebrand, and the Human Bomb. So all these characters basically made their first appearance in this book. And so this is a very significant book for that reason. And Plastic Man is a cool character, one that I really liked as a kid. So I always wanted to have this book. So Police Comics #1. And it goes for around $5,555 currently. So that's what I kind of calculated the price for it to be, is around that 5,500 range, which is insane because that's actually cheaper than a 1.0 would go for. So it doesn't really make sense to me, but that's how it is. If I actually remove the restoration, probably I could get like a 6.0. So it would just be like incredibly expensive. But yeah, it's one of those weird things. Like I never understood why restoration gets hit so hard, but it does. Next one on the list is another one that I saw. Actually, I bought this from my comic shop, and I just always loved this cover. This is actually one of my favorite Wonder Woman covers, and I always thought it was a cool one just because it's like got this. They actually use the Wonder Woman logo as part of the art. So this is the banner for Wonder Woman for President, and you got Wonder Woman. She's like up on stage, and she's got everyone voting for her, and I just think it's a cool idea. So it's 1,000 years into the future, and she's up against actually her boyfriend. So it's a really interesting story. Like they're competing to become the next president of the United States. So just a cool book, and I always loved the cover of this. Now this is H.G. Peter's cover, H.G. Peter cover, I should say, and there's no key about it. It's just a cool cover. I just always liked the cover, but it is also an early Wonder Woman book, so just a really great one. Now this one goes for a fair amount of money actually, because I guess other people think it's a cool cover too. So when I bought this, it was around $1,000 a point, so around $4,500. Now it goes for around a little bit more than $1,000 a point. It goes for the last sale for this book in this grade was around $5,580. So pretty cool book. Even has a cartoon on the back for Captain Tootsie. So kind of cool. And next was another big one that I actually I paid, like, when I bought this book, this next one, I paid the top of the market. Like, I sort of went all out on this one because I really wanted to get this book. It's not one that you see very often. And I thought, hey, I'll risk it. I'll go for it. And, if it goes up, it goes up. But I really just want to have it in my collection because it is such a cool book. It's another first appearance. So this is Miss Fury, #1. And I actually gambled quite well because it went up a lot after I bought it. So this is Alex Schomburg cover. I just love her legs. I just think, they look like her legs look so incredibly long. I think it's just so cool. And then she's taking out like 3 guys at once. I think it's just really cool. So this guy's flying off here. She's knocked this guy and also this guy at the same time. And she's swinging on the chandelier. So just a really cool book. And it's the first appearance of Miss Fury. Great Alex Schomburg cover. So much going for this book. And this was a Tarp Mills story and art. And it's Timely Comics Winter of 1942. And this is a 5.5, which is a really high grade for this book. Now, back in 2020, it had actually gone up quite a lot. 2022, I should say. It went up to around $7,000, but it kept on going. It's now worth around $7,150. $7,150 was the last sale for a book of this grade. So pretty huge sale, actually. So I think I paid around $4,000 or $5,000 for it. So it's gone up a lot since I bought it. Okay, the next book is one that I really, really love, and actually it was really interesting. There was a sale on eBay where the person had the run of Sensation Comics, I think 1 through 10. And they put them, like, they didn't really think about what they were selling. I think they should have individually sold the books of the series, but instead they put them in lots of 3, so you could get 1 through 3. Can you imagine buying 1 through 3 of Sensation Comics? Then they had 4, 5, like 1 through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So basically. Or it was maybe that they didn't have 1. It was like 2 to, I think it was like, because I got 6, 7, 8. So I think it was like they didn't have 1, but they had 2, 3, 4. Okay, so slide everything over by 1. But it was a really great collection. And I tried to win the 2 lots, like 6, 7, 8, and 4, 3, 4, 5. Those were the ones I really wanted. I kind of went high bid on both, but they didn't really go for that much. I think it was like a couple, like under 1,000, under 2,000. It was like 1,500 for the whole lot. So I got 3 books, and the one that I really, really wanted was this one. And it's Sensation Comics #6. Now this has a lot going for it. I'm a big collector of Super Pets. Okay. And this is the first appearance of Kanga, or Jumpa, actually. But the type of creature, it's called a Kanga. It's not a kangaroo, it's a Kanga. I don't know. They're alien, weird-looking kangaroos. But this one, the animal is called Jumpa, and that's Wonder Woman's super pet. This is the first appearance of the super pet. It's also the first appearance of Wonder Woman's magic lasso, or lasso, whatever way you pronounce it. And just a really great book because you see both of those first appearances on the cover. and just a classic cover with her riding a kangaroo, alien kangaroo. But just a really cool one, H.G. Peter cover as well. And this one really goes for a lot of money. Sensation 6 back in 2022 went up to around $5,000. Now it sells for about $8,000 in this grade. Just a crazy expensive book. So yeah, so I was quite happy to get it. So Sensation Comics number 6. Okay, next one on the list is one of the ones that I said that I won at that Heritage auction sale where it was just big books, big books where it was an auction after the other big books had sold. This one is another restored book, but it is a big one, and I really was excited to win this one. This is Fantastic Four number 1, and it is the first appearance of the Fantastic Four. And you get the modern human torch on here. You get the the Invisible Girl and the Thing and Mr. Fantastic, and just a really classic cover as well. So this is a Jack Kirby cover, Stan Lee's story, and is the origin and first appearance of the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first superhero team, and the Mole Men. Okay, and this one is restored. It's from 1961. The restoration includes color touch, pieces added, tear seals reinforced, reglossed, staples replaced, top and right edge trimmed. So this is a restored book, and it's not going to be unrestored. You can't fix it, but it is definitely a restored book, but it's a reasonably nice presenting one. And it is B5, which means extensive restoration. So it is one that cannot be unrestored, but it is semi-professional restoration. Now, this book is actually a major book for Marvel. Back in 1961, Marvel was about to go under, and it was kind of circling the drain. It was really close to going under, and this book was the thing that brought Marvel back and actually made Marvel the company it is today, because they took a risk and they said, hey, let's, they were doing Monster magazine, Monster comics, and tales of suspense kind of stories, and they really decided to take a gamble and go back to the superhero format. But this time, Stan Lee wanted to write it in a different way, where he wanted to create this kind of family. And this is Marvel's first family. And they really are like a dysfunctional family. And he used that to create an interest into these characters. And as a result, we got the Fantastic Four, then we get characters like this Spiderman and X-Men. And it really brought Marvel back to a state of being dominant in the comic market. So Fantastic Four number 1. Oh, and the prices on Fantastic Four number 1, just so you know, even in restored. Back, it had really gone up in price. Back in 2022, it had gone, this is the max price that a restored copy would have gone for, was around $21,000. It was crazy back then. It has since completely tumbled. Now it goes for around $8,450. I personally paid around $4,000 for it, so still double what I paid. So I'm happy, but man, did it ever go up and then crash? But a lot of the Silver Age books have. So this goes for around $8,400 now. Okay, next book on the list is another one that was kind of a book that also had kind of did a sort of meteoric rise and stayed, just sort of stayed there. This is More Fun Comics, number 55. This is a Bernard Bailey cover, and it is the first appearance of Dr. Fate. And the reason people had sort of gotten interested in this book was due to the Black Adam movie, where Hawkman was in it, and Dr. Fate, and what's this, Atom Smasher. They brought all those characters in, and a lot of people liked Dr. Fate. Very cool character, and this is his first appearance. So this book had really kind of been climbing a lot, and what kind of helped this book kind of go up, but also hold its value, was the fact that it's a very rare book. It's hard to get it in high grade. It's hard to get it in any grade. Uh, but even a 1.0 goes for about $8,500 per point. so it goes for around 8,500 as a 1.0. Very expensive book, hard to find. And actually, this was not my first choice of this book. Actually, I had a higher grade copy that I had purchased. I had actually paid all the money for it. I had bought it in installments. It was a restored 6.0. And what happened was, when I actually made the final payments, there was an announcement that Dr. Fate was going to be in the movies, and the prices were going crazy at one point. So they didn't honor the sale, and they actually canceled the sale. And later, like, it took them like 4 months to return my money. Uh, but yeah, it was kind of brutal. So yeah, so I ended up not getting the 6.0, but ended up getting this 1.0. But I was still quite happy to get it, and actually paid more for the 1.0 than I had paid for the 6.0, which is kind of sad. But next one on the list, number 22 on my list, or sorry, number 12 on my list, top books, is Amazing Spider-Man #1. This is another one that I picked up in that same auction. So I got the Batman 49, the Fantastic Four #1, and this book. It was like a crazy bill. I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to pay for this? So it's Amazing Spider-Man #1 from 1963. This is the first appearance of Jonah Jameson, and it is the first time you get the crossover between the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. And it's just it's the first titled Spider-Man book. So just a lot going for this one. And what else does it say? First, origin of Spider-Man retold, and Stan Lee's story, Steve Ditko cover and art. And this one again is another restored book. It has moderate to extensive restoration, a B4, so semi-professional, fairly major restoration. Restoration includes color touch, pieces added, tear seals, reinforced, reglossed, staples replaced, first wrap married, top edge of cover trimmed. Just so much going on. Kind of crazy, but I really wanted to get this book, and I was happy to get it, even though it is restored. Like, this is just such a cool book. First Spider-Man book. So, yeah, just a really great one. A lot of people don't like the cover, but I actually like the cover. I feel like it kind of reminds me of like those people that collect insects or butterflies, and they have like the needles stuck into, or pins stuck into the butterflies, and they're sort of pinned down in sort of that like sprawled out way. Well, that's how Spider-Man looks like to me. So I always thought that was cool. Now this is also, I believe, the Chameleon's first appearance too. First appearance of the Chameleon as well. So this one sec. Actually, this one had gone crazy as well during the pandemic. It had gone up to $16,000 in this kind of grade restored. It has since dropped a fair amount. It dropped down to $8,600. Now I paid around $4,000 or $5,000 for this, so still I was doing okay for this one. So it's around $8,600 is the price that I figure it's worth nowadays. So yeah, just a really cool book. Amazing Spider-Man #1 from 1963. And now the last book is another another interesting one. This is another restored book. So I have major books, but they're restored. These would be so much more expensive if they weren't restored. Is Journey into Mystery #1. 83. Now, this is the first appearance of Thor. And the interesting thing is it's slight restoration. So what happened was probably a lot of these early Marvel books had like kind of frayed edges or issues like that, and some people would just trim them. So all three edges are trimmed, but they maybe they removed a millimeter off of the cover, but it is restoration. So restoration includes small amount of color touch, spine sealed to cover all three edges trimmed. Sounds much more than C1, but it is C1. C1 means amateur, but very minor restoration. But because of that, it does really impact the value of this book. But this is a cool one. This is, you got the first appearance of Thor on the cover. And it's the first appearance of Thor. And that's all it says. Okay. Jack Kirby cover, Stan Lee story. So this is from 1962. And this had gone up to around $16,200. Now it's since dropped fairly significantly. It's down to $9,600. So still an expensive book, but definitely I got it before the major jump in prices. So I'm still away. I think I paid like $3,000 or $4,000. So I was quite happy to get this book, and I actually don't mind the restoration because it gives you high grade books in of some pretty rare books, and without paying the crazy price of a high grade book. So just a cool book. I'm quite happy to have it, and that's it. That's my part 4 for books from number 20 to the number 11 book on my list. Next week, I will be doing my top 10 biggest books in my collection. You should expect to see some pretty cool books in that list as well. So again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this series. If you haven't checked out the other parts, they are pretty cool as well. Subscribe to the channel, check out the other parts, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.